Welcome to another episode of the Simple Times Podcast. I'm Marcelo.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is episode 18 of the podcast, where we will talk about music videos. Somebody's in a music video. We'll talk about a Twitter, or RIP Twitter. What happened in the weather lately, which was pretty crazy a couple days ago. Oh, about a week ago now. New music from Yellowcard dropped, and we'll tell you about why that's a big thing for us. And of course, we'll end every podcast with Simple Minded Tweet, which could be ending soon. A new segment, the STN, which is the Simple Times News. And then, of course, ending it off with the longest running segment of the podcast, Jokes with Hefe.
All right, episode 18. I'm so excited.
I wonder what we're going to name this one.
I don't know. Maybe it'll come to us.
Maybe, yeah.
In a revelation as we just continue on discussing all kinds of things and topics and funny things.
Well, we could always name it what my dad said about our last episode, how we're professionals at BSing. BS professionals, I don't know, yeah. But yeah, that's when I made my dad listen to it, and so he sat through the almost 2-hour episode that we did last time of basically us BSing, and he just kind of that was his only review was, "Man, you guys know how to BS." And I was like, "Yeah, we do.
Well,
we do it all the time."
I think that something a good quality to have that you can make conversation,
especially with the podcast. I mean,
keep things lively. I think that's a compliment. Hey, that's better than what my dad. I cannot see my dad listening to this. He'd probably be like, "Huh? What?" I'm listening to something else. But no, yeah. I still can't believe that this is a reoccurring thing, that we're podcasting again.
Yeah.
Now, how would you explain it to somebody who's new? Let's say we have a first-time listener listening to episode 18. Well, how would you explain this podcast to them?
The entire podcast? Or like our podcast, or podcasting in general?
Our podcast.
Our podcast?
We're in what? Year 2023. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows what a podcast is. So
I've actually had some people say, like, what really is a podcast? Because like they know how to find them, but they're like, what makes a podcast a podcast?
Oh, that's a good point, because from the podcasts that I'm used to listening to, I would consider them to be someone just wanting to broadcast verbally their thoughts and ideas, but it could also be like a show, like a scripted, old radio shows.
Yeah,
and when the radio was invented, and people would tune in, listen to almost like theater.
That's how Batman started. Batman was actually on the radio, or I should say how it started, but it was a comic. But then they went into to radio. Yeah.
So there are podcasts that are simply that. It's like listening to theater.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm into.
Yeah. I'm into some of that, actually, to be honest. Yeah. But
you would tell me you like what? Like mystery stuff? Or
most of it is horror fiction, I guess you could say. But whenever someone asks me, how, I always tell them just on-demand radio. I mean, that's kind of really what it is in a nutshell. Whereas, you got like regular terrestrial radio, you have to be there and listen to it. Like once it airs, like it's like TV in the 90s and 80s. Like once it was on and once it was off, that was it. You couldn't listen to it. You couldn't watch it anymore. But now it's like a lot of radio. At least I know Heidi and Frank. They record, and they have a way where you can pay. I think it's like $16 for the year or something like that, and you can listen to all their past episodes. So it's almost like they're doing a live radio as well as a podcast.
Right.
So, but yeah, I always tell people whenever they ask me, what I think a podcast is, it's on-demand internet radio.
That's a good way of putting it. On-demand internet radio. You can stream it whenever. You just got to find it, and there's like so much out there, so much variety. It could be anything. You can find political stuff. You can find cultural stuff. You can find I think what I knew, this one coworker of mine, her big thing was like those murder mysteries, like serial killer stuff. I think there was a podcast called Serial, right?
There still is, yes.
And those are like the big popular ones.
No, you know what? Take that back. Yeah, no, that one. I think that one's done.
Right.
I think Serial was just about that one case. Yeah, that's right.
But those are like very popular.
Oh yeah.
And then how would you describe ours? So a first-time listener, like, hey, listen to this podcast because it's about, or it's like this.
I was actually just asked that earlier today. Somebody had asked me, what is my podcast about? And I had just told them, I said it's kind of hard to describe. We don't really have a set topic. It's just... honestly, I kind of used my dad's review. I was like, we just bullshit. Like, that's really all we do, is we just mainly just bullshit. We do have some topics, that I said in the intro, but most of the time, those topics, they're not really like set in stone. Like, we could, hell, I think we had a whole list on the episode 3. No, what was it? Episode like 4 or 5 when we did pizza back years ago. And I don't think that we were just going to stick on pizza the whole episode, but we ended up just talking about pizza the whole episode. So, I usually just tell them, think of it just as you're just hanging out with friends, just bullshitting about random stuff, That's
a really good way of describing it. You're just kind of tuning in to normal conversations.
Yeah.
You and I, we've been buddies since high school.
Mm-hmm.
And after high school, we hung out because we're like, oh, we're in the real world now. What do we do? Well, I got my buddy Marcelo here. And what happened, I was like into my music at the time. And I had the recording.
You had your solo projects,
Yeah, I had my music that I like to record. And then you helped me out one time, which looking back, I still remember it. I'm like, I wonder what Marcelo's thinking about it. He's probably thinking, this sucks. But you helped me record. And then right after that, we're like, hey, why don't we just...
I would just fuck around with a mic. I think we were putting it away. You had just finished recording, and because I remember you had asked me for help because you hated always having to go over to the computer, push record, go back over, play, and then go back over and hit record. And one day you were just like, hey,
it was ruining my flow.
Yeah, and you were just like, hey, hey, I need you to help me record. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't play an instrument, dude. Like, I can't sing. Like, I don't know what you need me.
Hit stop and record.
And I was like, I guess I could do that. I think I do. And here we are.
Sad? All those songs I recorded back then, they were recorded on some obscure computer. I don't remember where it is or where it went. And I think I lost all those songs. Like, I can vaguely remember what the songs were that I wrote, but I don't know where they are. And a part of me wishes I could find them again. And I think I had them on MySpace uploaded when you can upload like 3 songs or whatever.
I do remember that, yeah.
And I think I deleted because I kept changing the name of my projects.
Yeah.
Which my old bandmates, they would make fun of me like that. They're like, oh, what's going to be your new band name? And so, looking back, that was kind of embarrassing. I kept changing my solo project name.
Yeah. I remember that one, yeah. And it was like, whenever time I saw it was a new name change, I always thought, oh, maybe he's venturing off into a different genre of music. Like,
I was so full of it. I kept thinking I was like an established artist, and if I change my name, then people think I'm changing my style and genre. And no, I was still experimenting the whole way through.
It was just Andrew bullshitting his way through music.
Pretty much.
Much like how we bullshit our way through this podcast.
Oh, man, good old episode 18. 18 episodes. We got 18 episodes under our belt.
I know. It's almost like our podcast became an adult.
This podcast is growing with us.
Yeah, right?
Man, adulting.
Yeah. But speaking of your music projects, you finally settled down on one not that long ago, or I shouldn't say not that long ago, but how long have Sucker Punch been around? That's not quite as long as our podcast, right? Because it was
15 years.
15 years?
Okay. Yeah. So we started, let's see, it was my second year in college is when I met the dudes. So that was probably 2008.
8 or 9, yeah.
Or 2009. Yeah. One of those. I can't think straight right now. And yeah, we met in our music appreciation class, and we're like, oh, you play music? Oh, you play this? Oh, you play... And they were like, you're a drummer? I'm like, yeah, I'm a drummer. And we got together, formed a band, and we just jammed on Friday nights. That was like something I did for like 10 years straight.
I remember that because I think we would either go skate or we were gonna go skate, and I would have to either pick you up at the church that you were playing at.
Oh yeah! After jamming, we'd go hit the beach on our skateboards.
Dude, do you remember the video that we did at the over at the Strand? No, I mean at the was it the Strand? No, what do they call it? The like a boardwalk.
The Strand.
Would it be a Strand? Okay,
I didn't. In Hermosa Beach, we would ride from like Redondo through the
Torrance,
pier.
Yeah, Torrance Beach all the way through
Hermosa.
Redondo. And then if it was a good day, if we were feeling, ballsy enough, we'd go to Manhattan Beach. And that was a 10-mile skate.
And then we'd skate all the way back to Avenue G.
Yep. Well, we would skate all the way back to, I remember we would skate all the way back to the Snack Shack in Torrance. Mm-hmm. And then we would walk up, and then we would skate all the way back over to Avenue G, yeah. And I remember when they repaved Esplanade, and just how smooth it was, and we were just so ecstatic over like, oh my god, see how smooth this is. And we were like trying to dodge cars. We were not trying to dodge, we were skating down the street.
I'm laughing for two reasons. One, because we were like excited when it got repaved, and two, you called it Esplanade.
No, Esplanade.
Esplanade.
Is it Esplanade?
Esplanade.
I'd always pronounce it Esplanade.
I think I'm gonna have to quit this podcast.
Hey,
just kidding.
Reading how it's spelled, it looks like Esplanade.
All right.
Mr. I'm the mailman that delivers mail onto it. We're not everybody is always on Esplanade.
All right. But who can forget? And I have to mention this because this is...
My apologies for trying to get ethnic with it.
I have to mention something about our skateboarding trip, because who can forget that fateful night when you were
with the screwdriver?
And a random screwdriver popped out of nowhere in the middle of the road. And you straight up...
Yeah, on the Strand. Yeah.
Just crashed into it.
Mid-conversation.
Halted your skateboard. But your body kept going. Physics, the law of physics was just in full action right there. And you flew both legs up in the air.
What's funny, though, is that I remember looking to my right, talking to you and Arlen, because you and Arlen were with me. And just all of a sudden, next thing I know, like, I'm like, why am I in the air? Like,
you're probably like, look at those boats out there. They're so beautiful.
And I remember like having at least the know-how to like tuck and roll when I hit, because I didn't hit very hard.
Yeah, you felt like a champ. Like,
and
you knew how to fall.
And then like
you knew what you were doing in midair.
Yeah, well, it's not my first time falling on a skateboard. And I remember getting up, and people just looking at me going, "Dude, you all right?"
Yeah, what happened? Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like,
and we looked around,
and we're looking around, because we're like,
what is it?
What happened? Like, we're in the open. We were in like the middle of the Strand. There were people walking around. Like, it wasn't like,
it's a cemented, like,
it's flat,
smooth, flat surface. So
yeah,
like,
exactly.
What could it have been?
And all of a sudden, there it is. Because I think after I flew, my skateboard went back. So when we went to grab my skateboard, there was nothing around my skateboard. But it wasn't until we kept walking again and we saw the grooves and the indentation in the ground where the screwdriver scraped. And I think I remember, did I walk it to a cop and tell him, "Hey, there's a screwdriver," or did I just throw it away?
I don't remember.
I don't remember that, but yeah, no, like I said, I remember looking at you guys, talking to you, and then all of a sudden, just mid-sentence, I just felt my legs just like leave my board, and
you look like Superman.
And then I just started traveling through the air. And yeah, that was crazy. I think that's probably one of the few times I think I've fallen while we've skated.
Like, I'm sure. Okay, the pain of falling, it's nothing to laugh about.
Mhm.
But the fact that it was a screwdriver is
Yeah.
just the most randomest thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right in front of a bar.
Because you have to think about it. How does a screwdriver end up on the strand?
Yeah.
What happened? Was there
Someone had to...
a construction worker is
Probably.
like, let me go take a walk down to the beach, man. I've had a long day. And then a screwdriver slips out of his utility belt.
Probably. I mean, yeah. I mean, exactly. It's like, of all things, I was expecting it to be a rock. I was expecting it, hell, even to be one of those fucking potato bugs that we used to see down there. Those things were big enough to stop a skateboard. But no, a fucking screwdriver of all things.
Man, screwdriver. Who would have thunk? But yeah, so
It would have been less shocking if I cracked the sidewalk. Like that would, like the screwdriver just being there, I think was probably the most random thing
that's ever happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, back in those good old days,
Mhm.
that's when I met my bandmates in college, and we just started jamming. And where was I going with this?
Just getting your band together. We were you guys would jam on Friday nights at the church.
Friday nights at the church. That was our little meetup place where I could store my drums and set up and tear down. And yeah, and then fast forward, Nate was one of our special guests on our podcast, which I did re-listen to.
Oh yeah,
and I was impressed how good that episode was. There was drama, there was action,
and also I remember you were very hesitant about that episode.
I was,
because you were like, "Oh, we're in the car, we're going to be moving, we're going to hear all kinds of stuff." And I remember you were in the back seat. And we only had, I think, one mic, or maybe we had two.
It was the Zoom recorder.
Or was it the Zoom recorder?
And
okay,
I think it was just picking up everything.
Oh, okay, because for some reason, I remember. I mean, it could have been the Zoom. I remember I could have sworn that we had the two microphones, and I think you were in the back with one. I was in the front. I was in the passenger seat, and me and Nate were the ones that were passing it back because Nate was driving. Nate was driving. Oh. Wait, was Nate? No, wait.
It might have been me. Was it in the Prius?
No, yeah. You know what? Take that back. You were driving. You were driving, and Nate was in the back. I think Nate
was in the back.
Nate had that spare microphone. I had the one, and then me and you would just pass, or I would pass it to you whenever you had something to say.
Right.
And we would go back and forth. But you were like, "Man, like I just don't like this because it's gonna sound horrible. You're gonna hear the vibration in the car, even though it was a Prius and you couldn't really hear much." But
if you're listening to this, go look for our Nate episode. Nate.
It's like episode 4 or 5. See
if you can find out what episode number that is, because it's a good one.
It was.
You get a little history of Nate and who he is, and like I said, he's my bandmate in our band, Sucker Punch 405.
Somebody was about to slip up and say his first curse word in front of me.
Anyway, Sucker Punch 405, and
episode 5.
Episode 5.
On the Road with Nate Leathers.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
There's a crazy story of his.
Yeah.
That has to do with a car.
Yeah.
And maybe a crash. I'm not going to go into detail.
I think that.
Listen to it.
I think that's why he wasn't driving. Because I think he was in between cars.
Oh, probably. But yeah, check that one out. Nate is the guitarist and I want to say the genius mastermind of writing songs for our band. And we were known to be a group that kind of, during the time we were like running our youth groups or church youth groups, so a lot of our songs kind of catered to that audience. But this new song that we came out with after a hiatus of so many years,
a hiatus of you guys getting married and having kids and finding careers, and
I think maybe about 5 years went by where we just didn't even think about jamming or anything because growing up.
Yeah, because it was before. Or I think you guys stopped right around when Larissa got pregnant first.
Yeah, I think. Okay, yeah, if I remember correctly, our first son was born. We jammed a little, and then we were like, "Yeah, it's not easy to jam anymore," and we just stopped.
Right.
And so yeah, like 5 years went by, or was it 7? I don't know. But anyway, Nate, this was in, I think, the year 2021. Yeah, 2021.
Okay.
Nate comes up to us in email form. You know, he walked up to us in an email.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, guys, I have this song that I've been working on." And we're like, "Word?" I'm like, "All right, well, let's hear it." And he shoots us the email. We listen to it. And it got me pumped. It got me excited. I'm like, this is not bad. I can see myself doing my things on the drums, because for those of you who don't know, I'm the drummer in the band. Nate's the guitarist / singer / lyricist. And then we have Arlen, who's the bass guitarist. And I was like, all right, this is good. So I'm like, you know what? I want to really make this my own. Like, Nate recorded some drum parts using his keyboard, you know, like a MIDI type thing. And I hate to say it, but it sounded like garbage. Like I can tell that's not like a drummer playing the drums. I'm like, I got to make it my own, because I'm the drummer in the band. But I was like, well, I have my drum set, but it's going to be way too hard to get drum mics and set up and record my parts. So I thought of the next best thing: buying an electric drum set. So then I went on OfferUp, I think, and I just typed in electric drum set after I figured out which brand I wanted. It's like, I got to get this Alesis. It was between an Alesis and a Donner. And Alesis has more of a reputation. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me look for someone with Alesis. So someone in the USC neighborhood was selling one. And so I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to go do this for the band. You know, I'll do anything for the band. So I go out there, a little nervous, because I'm like, man, go into some rando's house. I go into this random guy's house. Well, I find where he lives. I park, and I call him up, and I'm like, hey, it looked like a sketchy neighborhood.
That's how all USC kind of surrounding area is, yeah.
So
my sister's girlfriend lives over that way. Or, her parents are out that way.
Okay, yeah. So if you've been around there,
oh, yeah.
It's like, it's not a place where we want to be at night.
And it's dark. That area is like dark. That's what kind of is like random. Like, you think LA bright lights, but no, this area is dark.
Chain link fence everywhere.
Well, but no,
it just seems a little like you don't want to be there after hours. And so I park, and then I see the guy's address. I'm like, okay, he's living there. He finally comes out. I'm like, hey, you're selling the drum set, right? And I'm telling you, the most cracked out looking dude comes out, and he's just like, he seems sketchy. Mm-hmm. Like, he seemed like maybe he was doing something illegal and was trying not to be noticed or get caught or something. Mm-hmm. He gave me that vibe, like, sketchy and shifty and like pacing back and forth. And I'm like, all right. And so he's like, you can come in. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And then I'm like, yeah. So I walk in his room, and it's like a house for rent type thing. So it's like a house. And first thing that I notice when I walk in there, it smells like weed. And I'm like, okay, well, this guy's into recreational activities. And I'm like, so where's the drum set? And then he opens up his closet. He's like, oh yeah, it's right over here. He opens up his closet, and the drum set is all like folded and cables wrapped all around it. And he's like, oh yeah, man, here it is. Like, yeah, if you just want to pay me up front, you could take it. And he's like, you could test it out, and you know, if it doesn't work, you know where I live, man. You know where I live. And I'm like, dude, like, no offense, but before I buy something off of you, I want to know if it works first. Like, can we please just plug it in somewhere? And because I don't want to buy it without knowing if it works. And he's like, oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, let me figure it out. He turns on his computer. He has like some amplifier or something. He sets it up. You know, I had to like pull it apart because it was all like, you know, like just kind of folded into each other.
So this can fold up.
It can fold up.
Oh, okay.
Like to store or to transport much easier. Like everything can collapse basically. And so I pulled it apart and I just wanted to test everything just to see if it was working. And it worked. And I can't remember how much I paid for it. I think I gave him, I don't know, $200 or something.
Okay.
He was asking for like $400.
Uh-huh.
And I was like going to lowball him. I'm like, will you take 2? He's like, yeah, I'll take 2. I'm like, dang, that was the best deal I ever made. The worst deal he ever made. That's why you shouldn't be on drugs while you're selling stuff.
Have you ever looked it up to see how much one actually costs, like brand
Retail?
new? Yeah.
Well, I can find out right now.
Because I've never. I've known that there are electric ones, but I just assumed that all the drum makers, like was it Zildahan, all those kind of Zildjian.
Well, that's a cymbal brand.
Oh, they just do cymbals? I thought they did drums too.
Zildjian.
Because I know Yamaha does drums too, right?
Yamaha does drums and I believe cymbals.
Okay.
Like these things retail $5? No, I'm just kidding. Imagine. No, I want to say like $300.
Okay, so he was probably trying to make profit doing the 400. Probably figured, I'll pay off what I bought it new, 300, $100 just to kind of
yeah, I think
make a profit. But
I remember I got a good deal, and I don't remember exactly how much I paid, but I know if it retailed for $3, I was gonna try to pay half of that, like $150.
Yeah,
and I think like he listed it as $200, and I went down. So
yeah.
Anyway, long story short, that dude was weird. I got the drum set, it worked, and I was like, all right, now I can record my drum parts for the song.
Yeah,
and I recorded my drum parts. Send it off to the guys. They all approved. Then I did a final take, and surprisingly, just like our last 2 podcasts, I did it in the middle of the night when the kids were put to sleep. And wait, that sounds off. Like, dogs get put to sleep. Kids were put to bed. There we go. That's what I meant to say. And everyone's asleep. And I remember I started recording, I think, at 11 p.m.
Okay.
And I didn't finish till I think 1 in the morning.
Okay.
Because just a little bit of trivia information, I recorded my drum part in 1 take. So if you listen to the song and you listen to the drums, the whole thing was done in 1 take.
Okay.
Now, there's a couple reasons why I did that. One is because I was too lazy to try to figure out how to hit the pause plays and then like pick up where I left off. And I'm like, I don't want to do all that. And another thing, I felt more connected to the song knowing that I had played it from beginning to end in 1 take. Because I got to like learn the song and kind of learn what I wanted to do. And I added a little technical stuff in the beginning. And then just kind of, some simple timey stuff throughout the song. Nothing too crazy. I like to be technical and crazy on the drums, but I kept the crazy to a minimal and just kept it more of a steady groove for a majority of the song. I'm very proud of the song, and if you have time to listen to it, you listeners out there, just look up Sucker Punch 405, and the song's called Better Days.
Because I think I remember that I bought your guys' first album.
Did you?
I think I did, yeah.
On CD Baby?
It might have been whatever it was that you guys were able to upload to. I think I did buy it.
Wow.
Because I think like when I bought it, you had told me like, dude, you could have just asked me. I could have given you a copy.
I remember one of the bandmates' moms bought it, downloaded it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I want to support you guys." And I'm like, "All right, that's 3 people that support us." But yeah, I mean, I think anybody could enjoy the song because, like, typically, the bandmates, we were like, catering to like a church audience, but this song, no religion in it. This song, it's a really cool concept. It's basically about how the guys, we got older, and like our favorite thing to do was to jam and stuff. But now as you get older and you have kids, there's like a new chapter in life, and it doesn't necessarily mean you can't have fun and all that stuff. It's just a different kind of fun. So that's what the song's about in a nutshell. Nate was the genius lyricist, and he really formulated it very well. And I think the message comes across very well. And not only that, we put a music video to it.
And that's not your first one either. You guys did a music video. I remember you guys did the volleyball video.
Badminton.
Was it badminton? Oh, okay. And it was you and Nate versus two guys that you hired, right? Or
so when the band was a 4-piece,
that's right. Yeah.
We did it was a 2-on-2 volleyball, 2 versus 2.
Volleyball or badminton?
Badminton. Sorry.
I was like, wait, hold on.
Badminton. We purposely decided badminton because we wanted to make it the dorkiest sport. For the music video. And it was one guy got taken out, I think because he was playing dirty, and then I got taken out because the opponents tied my shoes, and I fell and hurt my elbow. And so then it was Nate and Arlen who brought our team to victory.
Okay.
Anyway, watch the music video if you're out there. The song's called "Get Me Through." It's pretty funny, and I'm still proud of that music video. And this new music video for Better Days, I'm also proud of. So we, let's see, 2021, Nate comes up to us with the song. 2022, I record my parts, and all the bandmates record their parts. But the music video didn't come out till this year, 2023.
Okay.
So can you believe it took 3 years?
Yeah, I can. Knowing you guys, yeah, I can. Yeah.
It took almost 3 years for us to put out a song because our in our heads we were like, well, I brought this to Nate. I said, if we write a song and we put it up on Spotify, like no one's going to really listen to it.
Right.
But if we make a music video for it, people will watch it because you'd be more inclined to watch a music video than just listen to a song.
Yeah.
And I think I was right. We got a bunch of plays on Instagram. We uploaded to Instagram and YouTube.
Okay.
And YouTube, we hit like 100 really quickly. And then on Instagram, I think we hit around 400 views.
It's just that one guy's mom just playing it on repeat over and over again. I want to support my baby.
Oh, man.
Either that or it's all your guys' kids and you're sitting there going, you're going to fucking play this over and over again until I say stop.
But Daddy, my eyes are tired. I don't care.
This could pay for your college one day. Stop it.
I hope this podcast can pay for their college one day. So keep going. But yeah, I think if you watch the music video, you'll like it, and very proud. And all the band's kids got involved. That was a big point of the music video and the song. So yeah, that was a little proud moment of my life.
And you guys released that in between our last episode and this one, correct?
No, I think.
Or was it already released before?
We released it on Father's Day.
Okay.
That was the point of that too, because it's all the the 3 bandmates.
Right, yeah.
We're all fathers, and Nate was like, "Why don't we release it on Father's Day?" I'm like, "Perfect," and so we did. And so yeah, it was crazy that the band got back together, our podcast got back together.
Yeah.
And yeah, life's good.
Now all we got to do is just start skating again.
I'm gonna tell you this: I'd be down.
I have to find my board. I don't know what I do with it.
You know what I'm into right now? My bicycle. Would you ever be down a bicycle?
You know what's kind of sad? I've never really learned how to ride a bike.
No?
I've been on a bike a few... Well, we did that one bike ride with Jackie where we went from her house to like the LA River and rode along that.
I wonder if she listens to this podcast.
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, if you are listening, Jackie, you're a good friend. You're awesome. And that was a fun bike ride.
It was me, you, her, and Skittles. Remember Skittles?
I remember Skittles.
But
She was the only one that could give me a piggyback ride.
I remember that, and that was like a thing that you asked for every time that you saw her.
Because I'm like this 6'2" tall dude,
Yeah.
like 230 pounds or whatever.
I think you had like a foot on her because I remember she wasn't really that tall. Or I mean, not that she was short, but I mean she was what, like about 5'3", 5'4", you know.
So with my size and weight, like people my size never get piggyback rides.
Yeah.
So the fact that she did,
Yeah.
it was fun.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, she was cool.
I liked it. It was fun.
But yeah, no, I mean, other than that day, I've never really been on a bike much. So I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I don't know how, but I wouldn't say I know how.
I think
I've only spent maybe 10 hours total on a bike.
what?
I mean, I used to go right around my aunt's neighborhood a little bit, but it was mainly downhill. So like, I'd walk it to the top and then go downhill. And of course, when you're on downhill, you don't really need to worry about balance and pedaling and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I just got really into it because I guess my wife wanted that bicycle for Christmas.
uh-huh.
And when she got it, I was like, hold up. I want a bicycle.
Yeah, I got to get one too. Yeah.
So I got it. And then I just started watching a bunch of bicycling videos on YouTube, went down that rabbit hole.
Uh-huh.
And then it convinced me, like, people in other parts of the world, like, say, Europe, they're like a bicycle-centered way of life.
Yeah,
like,
bicycles are everywhere, yeah.
and I'm like, And then if you look at videos of people in, like, Europe, they're all, like, in shape and not overweight. And I'm like, I'm like, and then I was thinking, I don't live too far from work. I could probably bicycle and it'd be a healthy lifestyle. And so I went down that rabbit hole of getting a bike and accessories. And I've biked to work a grand total of one time.
Really?
One time.
How far is it from here to your work?
A little under 3 miles.
Okay, so it's not that far.
It's not that bad. The funny story, the first attempt I made to bike to work, my derailleur busted. It bent into the spokes, and I was stranded maybe like less than a mile away from my house. I had to call up the missus, and I was like, hey, the bike just busted. I can't turn the wheels. Can you pick me up? And she picked me up. So she saved my life. That was embarrassing. My first attempt to bike to work was a failure, and I was mad. And then I made a second attempt, and that was a success. So I learned biking to work is easy, but coming back home because of that giant hill on 190th is not good. I have to figure out a route that goes around the hill. But we should get you a bicycle, man.
Maybe, yeah. Could be a possibility. I mean, I have looked into them, but most of the time I'm like, I don't know really where to. I can't really transport it. I don't think my Malibu's big enough. Maybe it is. I've never really.
Get a bike rack.
Yeah, but I don't want to scratch up the paint. I don't know.
I know what you mean.
It's
a lot of stuff. You buy one thing, then you got accessories to deal with. Yeah,
got to worry about a helmet, and at least I do, because in case another screwdriver comes popping out somewhere.
I know. Just be your luck.
I know it'll come flying through the tire, and
a jackhammer will just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah, maybe sledgehammer. Who knows? So
anyway, speaking of music videos and stuff, so you messaged me the other day about a band that we used to love. Yeah. Came out with some new music.
Yeah.
And it was a surprise.
Yellowcard, yeah.
Yellowcard. Now, I have to tell you, this holds a special place in my heart because I give you the thanks for introducing Yellowcard to me. The way that you did.
I introduced you to a lot of bands, it seems like.
I know. Looking back, Foo Fighters, Yellowcard, a bunch of other stuff. But for some reason, like, Yellowcard was one of those bands where we both agree.
Yeah.
And we both enjoy. And you were able to get me Ocean Avenue, Lights and Sounds, Paper Walls.
Yeah.
And I think you got me those. And then I was hooked, and I became a fan, really. And then you messaged me saying, hey, they have new music. I was like, what?
Yeah, because last I had heard prior to that, they were done. I mean, when what was it? Something Sail. It wasn't
one of their albums with
yeah.
Sail in
Well, now it's the second to last one.
Not Full Sail.
But yeah, both you and I had heard that was gonna be their last one, because they had even said that this is the final Yellowcard from what I remember. And in fact, I remember picking you up from
Lift to Sail.
Okay, I remember picking you up from your house over on Voorhees, and we were going to go to. I think we were going to Sam Ash because you needed something from there, and I was like, hey, I got Yellowcard's new album. And you're like, yeah, it's their last one, and I was like, what? And then we started talking about that, listening to it, and it was really good. And then yeah, just I was listening to Spotify, and a song came through, and I'm sitting there going, God, this band sounds familiar. I had it on my car. So I wasn't paying attention really to the screen, and then when I got to Red Light, I happened to look over and I saw that was Yellowcard, and I was like, oh man, I have never heard this song. Or like maybe it's like on their very first album, because of the very first album I haven't heard. I still have yet to hear which album that one was. They just released like a 20th anniversary version of it, but I was like, okay, maybe it's like a single or something that came out before that. And then I got home and it came through again, and I looked it up, and no, it was a new song. So I was like, oh man, that's cool. Maybe it's a cool little single, putting one out. Did a little more digging and found out that they were just putting together a whole new album and making all new music. And the quote unquote breakup that or the ending of it was them basically just saying that they had been playing and touring and making music for 12, 15 years in a straight, and they were just like, we got kids are starting to grow, we need to kind of take a break and deal with that. And yeah, they just took maybe like a 5-year hiatus. And
sounds like the Sucker Punch 405 story,
right? Yeah, so hey, might be something there.
And then their main song, Childhood Eyes, it's pretty good. Like the first time, like okay, I get it. And I kept listening to it, and I'm like, this song is really good.
Yeah.
Have you watched the music video for it?
No,
you gotta watch it. It's good. And
they make good videos.
They do.
They do some really, really good videos.
And their song Childhood Eyes, yeah, that's a good one.
Best video I say so far though is probably has to be Lights and Sounds.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Especially when the drummer goes on that little drum solo thing and they light up the sticks to where you get like the trails of the stick heads.
That's a cool scene.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And even listening to this new Yellowcard album, like I listened to it a couple times through, and yeah, the first song's a banger. It's like intense.
Now it's more of an EP though, right, than a full album, because it's like
5 songs.
Yeah,
but there's some really good songs. Like you got the intensity at the beginning of the album. And then later on, you have like maybe a ballady type of song, kind of soft, and then there's one song. I can't remember which one it is, but I remember listening to it. I'm like listening to the drums, because you know me, I'm a drummer,
of course, yeah.
And they do something crazy where I'm like, oh, I don't get the pattern. I don't get what he's doing, but it's good. And then when they get into the chorus of the song, it brings it all together, and it's like, oh, now I hear it. And the melody really just pulls it all together. So it's kind of like a little chaos at the beginning, but then it comes together in the middle, and I'm like, ooh, that's so good. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, my history with music, never really listened to what was popular until you introduced a lot of stuff. And yeah, Yellowcard is one of those bands, especially their drummer.
Yes.
Their original drummer was just crazy good on the drums.
Well, I think it's the same drummer.
Is it for this new album?
Yeah, I don't think they've ever gone through a different drummer. The only member that I heard that left was a bassist. A bassist had left after their very first album. So Ocean Avenue, they had already gotten a new guy. Right. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Ocean Avenue was also the first album that they had their violinist in.
Oh, no way.
So prior to that, they were just basically a strict punk band.
Watch the music video, man. It's
and
good.
then Yellowcard was when the violinist came in and stayed with them. And I think someone had even said that for most of their songs in Ocean Avenue, they replaced the violin for the bass. So some are saying that if you listen closely, you don't really hear a bass, but you hear the violin that takes over for that bass.
And that's another thing I forgot to mention is one of the reasons why Yellowcard stands out is because of that
violin, yeah.
And it's surprising because it's not like just a random violin. He actually writes good violin parts.
Yeah, he really does.
And it actually goes really well with the, alternative sound that they have.
Especially on the song Believe. Which they open with the violin. He does like a little, I don't want to say solo, but you just hear him, and then throughout the whole thing up until literally the very end, I think one of the last things you hear is the violin.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's kind of what put him on the map for me was, what the hell, like a violin? Like when has there ever been
violin in any type of rock music?
And then I think shortly after that, that's when I found the band Apocalyptica. Where they're considered a quote-unquote metal band. It's really, I think, just two guys, really. And then they just get, other musicians around them. And they play cello.
Oh, cello.
And one of their biggest they do songs with, I can't think of the name, but the original singer of 3 Days Grace, they do a song with him. I think they did a song with Corey Taylor. I'm sure you've heard the songs, but if you listen, now that I said that they play a cello, you can hear them playing the cello. Like the bass, there's no bass. It's cello that they're playing, or maybe it is a standing bass instead of a regular guitar bass. But but they also do that. And then just recently, I found another band, or I discovered myself. I'm not saying I discovered them, had them become big, but they're called the Hue. They're a Mongolian metal band.
Whoa.
And they use ancient and traditional Mongolian instruments along with drums and electric guitars, and they create this insane sound. Like so there's a game, video game that came out, Star Wars Fallen Jedi, I think is what it was called. They did a song for them. In fact, if the song requires lyrics, they sing in Mongolian, but then they do the throat singing. Have you ever heard Mongolian throat singing?
I think I have.
They do that, and it's like when they do like the deep guttural growl of the Mongolian, it sounds like a straight up like death metal kind of growl. So it's really cool, but like you can really hear the classic instruments that they're making just to sound really metal and then you can hear the drums and the modern drums and modern electric guitar and all that stuff. So that they're really, really good. I think right now their biggest song is Wolf Totem. And I think Jacoby Shaddix of Papa Roach. The lead singer Papa Roach does a song with them. So, but yeah, they're like an Apocalyptica, classical instruments with modern sound, and but
I've just got to say, you and Jurgen have introduced like new types of music to me.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't or want to know who Jurgen is, we have an episode with him.
I think that's episode 2.
I think that's episode 2.
Yeah.
Was it the D-Boys or something?
The D-Boys Reunite or the Reunion, something like that.
So listen to that episode. That's a pretty good one. Hopefully, maybe one day we could get him back on this podcast.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've introduced a lot of like alternative stuff to me, and Jurgen. Oh, episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3. The Reunion,
Jurgen.
The D-Boys and El Jefe.
And Jurgen introduced a lot of like stuff that I wouldn't have never considered, like rockabilly and ska and a little bit of reggae. But yeah, who would have known? Some of my best friends.
Who would have known that the musician wouldn't listen to good music? Like,
I grew up in a weird way.
But I will say that you also introduced me to a few bands. Like you introduced me to Under Oath.
Oh yeah.
You introduced me to who else? Well, no, Chevelle. Chevelle, you knew. I knew.
I was into like the Almost.
That was the band I was trying to think of. Yeah, that was the one that you introduced me to. And I still remember that there's a song that they do that it's probably like the only song that I've ever listened to like repeat from the Almost.
Maybe like Southern Weather or something like that.
It wasn't Southern Weather. It was. I'm gonna have to look that one up because I remember I used to always make you play it. Like whenever we would go somewhere, you would always pop your iPod in.
Maybe it was their first song. Say This Sooner.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, yeah, that was like their biggest hit, the one that put them on the map.
Yeah.
But I need to ask you something, Marcel.
Okay.
This came to mind after we restarted our podcasting. Is you have good taste in music.
Uh-huh.
You know your stuff. You know it's good. But there's one band in particular that seems to be the butt of jokes. And when you introduce them to me, I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. I like this.
I think I know it, yeah.
And I think they're good.
Yeah.
Their music is good, but they have this reputation of being, how would you say? Like
horrible, bad, cheesy, like
sellout-y.
Yeah.
Nickelback.
Yeah.
And I don't get it.
I don't either.
Like, what's that big album that you introduced to me?
Silver Side Up. That was their first one.
Silver Side Up?
Yeah. That was
the one with.
Not to the back. It wasn't their first one. It was their biggest one. What kind of like put them.
The one with Photograph.
Oh, a Photograph?
Rockstar. That's the album I'm thinking of.
That is Far Away.
Far Away.
Yeah.
Oh, and Far Away is a good song too.
Yeah.
So they have these bangers, these really good songs.
They do.
Big, popular.
Let me put it this way: How You Remind Me is, I think they said, is one of the top selling records since 2000 or in this millennia. It's like the top 10. I mean,
why is Nickelback so hated?
I don't know. I mean, at first I thought maybe just because they were Canadian. Maybe just people don't like Canadian bands, but then it's like you look at bands like Rush, they're Canadian, but yet they're one of the most popular bands in the entire world. So I don't know. I've asked people online, like whenever I see people quote, commenting on, Nickelback stuff that, oh, they suck and I can't believe, like I remember there was a video I saw. I think this is how far back it was on Vine, remember the app Vine?
Oh yeah, Vine.
Where this dad.
For those people who don't know Vine, it's basically
TikTok,
but in shorter form. Like I think you got 6 seconds.
Yeah, you had 6 seconds.
6 seconds
to do
videos.
a video. Yeah.
There was some good stuff that came out of Vine
because they made you get creative to try to condense it to six seconds. So you had to tell a story. Essentially, you had to tell a story, tell a joke in 6 seconds.
Arguably, maybe video meme culture was created through Vine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
But no, I remember there was a video where this dad was walking by, looked over at, saw his son's backpack sitting on the table, and he goes, "Oh my God." And he goes reaching in there, and he pulls a gun out, sets it on the side, pulls drugs out, sets it on the side, pulls up, I think like a bomb, and sets it on the side, and goes, "No." And he pulls out a Nickelback record, and he's like, "Why would my son do this to himself?" But I mean, like I said, I've asked people, like, what is it about Nickelback that people hate? And at this point, the one response I've gotten is, it's just an ongoing joke. It's just people trying to be cool and just, I mean, I really don't know what it is. Because if they're talking about selling out, I mean, okay, so then a lot of bands have sold out whenever they go into big records, I don't know. I really, truly don't know. Some songs can be.
I've heard podcasts surrounding this.
Yeah.
I still can't remember what they said. I've been trying to think. Like, they had some points to make. I think there is some level of selling out, but it's like a perception that they've sold out because I guess their songs are kind of generic. It's kind of hard to tell if they're being truthful. And you saying that does remind me that a lot of people did also say, well, all of their albums sound the same. But my thing is, if you hear a Blink-182 song, don't you know it's Blink-182? Mm-hmm. If you hear an Under Oath song, don't you know it's Under Oath? Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, so why is it that if you hear a Nickelback song on their 6th album and you know it's Nickelback, how is that they all sound the same? I think another aspect of this is that they're trying to replicate what's popular. So, like Nickelback's voice is kind of like a raspy kind of
a little bit, yeah,
manly sound, and you get that with other bands too. Like, it's not coming to me, but what's the band? It's escaping. There's a lot of bands that have that like raspy kind of harsh. Like, I don't want to say Dave Grohl, but he kind of does that.
Yeah.
But Dave is known to be very authentic.
But then again, Dave Grohl also came out in the time of grunge bands where that was kind of it was kind of like that, or he came from the grunge era starting with Nirvana, but I think when Foo Fighters really took off, it was like the post-grunge era, and that was kind of how it was, like when you had like Puddle of Mud. Puddle of Mud had like that really kind of, straining the vocal cords, not quite screaming, growling like how like a...
You know how the Wallflowers has like a throaty kind of... I think it's that throaty kind of low voice.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that, but also I think this way is Chad Kroeger, the lead singer of Nickelback, has a Grammy for best song that he did with
Stone Temple Pilots. I was thinking he kind of has like a deep kind of throaty.
But again, that's just part of the post grunge era. I mean, if you listen to post grunge music, they all kind of have that same
throaty kind of.
But I mean, then you look at the punk.
Raspy.
But then you look at punks like a good classic punk band. They all kind of have like that same kind of sound.
I think the point I was trying to make is, it sounds like. I think the perception is, Nickelback is trying to put on this act that they're this like massive, popular. It's like they're imitating what's been done to kind of capitalize on that. I think that's the perception. I'm not saying that's what it is.
Well, I mean,
because like I said, that album with Photograph, Far Away,
it's a good album.
It's solid.
Yeah.
I would even say perfect. For
me, all of their albums up until probably Feed the Machine, I think were really good. The Long Road was a good one. Silver Side Up was a really good one that had a lot of good songs on it. But I think Feed the Machine, or even what was it? Dark Horse. Dark Horse, I think was a different. Dark Horse, to me, I think was their attempt at a different sound. Vocals were the same, but I think their songs kind of went a little more deeper tones, because I do remember it kind of being more crossing the lines of like a rock, like a country rock. Like they would add more like steel guitar. I kind of heard in a couple of them. But Feed the Machine became more, to me, seemed more political like lyrics. So I think, you can probably argue with, the perception of they're trying to copy what's already been done kind of a thing.
Yeah, like some people would say like Creed.
Well, no, Creed, I'm a fan of Creed, but Creed, the music is great. Like if you listen to like the instruments are great. You can also hear the people. It's one thing I heard was, oh, well, Creed, Alter Bridge just sounds like Creed. Well, yeah, Alter Bridge is Creed, just with a different singer.
Do you know Godsmack?
I know Godsmack. Yeah, Godsmack is good too. They're metal. I think that's more metal era.
But some people see them as kind of like the Nickelback of metal.
But I think they're also kind of looking at like the vocals are like, well, anybody, because they think it's like, oh, well, anybody can just manipulate their voice to sing like that. And I mean,
maybe it's that voice manipulation that people hate on.
Creed and Pearl Jam, I think, would be like, as far as vocals, that Eddie Vedder and Scott Stapp is like that. Anybody can just deepen their voice and start singing like that, and you could sound like that. But to me, Nickelback never did that. I mean, because if you listen to Chad Kroeger's normal voice and then you listen to his singing voice, it's almost the same. I mean, it's not like he changes where, like, if you listen to not that I'm trying to say, he's bad, but like Prince. If you listen to his regular voice was very deep and very soft. But then when you listen to his singing voice, it was very high pitched. So, but like I said, I just don't see. I personally don't see it with Nickelback.
I mean, it's funny to me seeing all the hate towards Nickelback and the memes. And like that one YouTube video meme that I keep seeing. It's like, look at this photograph. Yeah. And then it's just him holding like a picture of something random. Yeah. And then the video just cuts.
Yeah. But I mean, the way I look at it is, if you're going to say they're a sellout, why are they still like one of like the best, like most popular bands in the world? I mean, they still sell out. They're still touring. Spotify, in fact, gave them like their own channel kind of a thing.
I don't know. It's one of the mysteries of life.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean,
I have no idea.
At this point, I think it just kind of became like we're just trying to join in on the fun, But yeah, I've never understood it. But like I said, I like all their songs except for "Feed the Machine" album. I think that just kind of came off a little too political. It was like a Canadian band trying to comment on American politics. It just kind of came off a little odd, a little forced,
a little cringy.
Yeah, Sum 41 tried to kind of do that, but Sum 41 actually made it pretty cool with one of their latest albums. So, but
remember who was that? Kanye West.
Oh yeah,
did that video with Mike Myers. It was during the Katrina thing, Hurricane Katrina.
No, I don't remember that.
And then Kanye West just on live television goes, and George Bush doesn't like black people, or something like that. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all.
You gotta watch it. It's kind of funny.
With Mike Myers?
Mike Myers, right? Mike
Austin
Myers?
Powers?
Austin Powers? Yeah. They were saying side by side, and they were doing this, we need donations, please call this number to send support. And then I swear, Kanye West just goes, and George Bush doesn't like black people.
No.
YouTube it.
I'll have to look that one up.
It's funny because you could see Mike Myers kind of like trying to like fix the situation. It's like, what is this? And dude, Kanye West, what's up with that guy?
Who knows, dude? There's rumors that him being with Kim Kardashian, being the Kardashian family, really fucked his mind over.
Possibly, but they split, didn't they?
They did, but they're talking like the popularity. Like the Kardashians are one of those families where anywhere they go, there is always somebody taking a picture, doing all that stuff. And Kanye was popular before, but I don't think that he was on that level. But then again, if I remember correctly, I think he got like some car accident. So I mean, hell, it could be the whole concussion thing, because I remember in like middle school or high school hearing rumors. I don't know if they were true, that he had to have his jaw wired shut for a while.
Really? Because
he broke his jaw.
Whoa.
And he had to have it like reset, and that's why like if you look at like at his face, it's kind of got like a really odd shape to like his chin. And because they're saying that what was it, Graduation, I think they say could be a perfect album. I mean, they say it's probably, if you love Kanye, that is probably the album that you can point to. But I don't know what's going on with him. They said that last picture I saw, he was wearing a mask, like a full-on latex mask, with matching latex gloves, and wearing those. I think they were like big. I think they're called like big red boots or big red shoes, like those big cartoonish looking fashion kind of shoes. Like he was trying to disguise himself, but it just looked like this weird dude wearing a latex mask walking down the street. So I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, but yeah,
he's always been weird to me.
Now he is, yeah. But like I said, prior to the Kim Kardashian, him being with her, he seemed to be normal. I mean,
whoever gets close to the Kardashians just ends up weird.
Could be, but
anyway,
yeah,
that's for another episode.
Yeah, right.
Episode 18, man. I still can't believe we're making podcasts. I know I've said that before, but this is insane.
Yeah, it is.
Are you gonna put your pants back on? Man, you just took them off right now. Why?
Man, it's hot. It's summertime. We're finally in a heat wave.
Yeah.
I haven't been wearing pants all day long, but now all of a sudden I gotta. All right, I'll tell you what. I won't wear pants, but how about if I wear? Well, they call them hoochie daddy shorts. You don't mind those? I mean, it's an extra layer. It's almost as long as the underwear that I'm wearing. I'll just say that.
I think your underwear is longer than your hoochie shorts.
Could be. Who knows?
I don't understand. You do this every time. We're in the middle of something interesting, and you slowly start slipping off your pants.
Much like that one fighter in the UFC said, "My balls are sweaty." You haven't seen that one either?
Are you just making stuff up now?
No. Actually, I swear, there was a UFC fighter, and at the end of his fight, he took his trunks off, and he's walking around the ring and doing interviews in his underwear. And Joe Rogan actually asks him, "Why did you take your pants off?" And he literally grabs the mic and goes, "Because my balls were sweaty." And then that became like a meme for like a long time. To the point to where now, the company Manscaped hired that fighter to do their commercials to say, "Do your balls get sweaty after you fight?" And like, well, maybe if you Manscaped, it would cut down on the ball sweat. So they went full bore into it and hired him on. So I mean, it was good PR.
That's good marketing. Good marketing right there.
Maybe we can get marketing for, I don't know,
Jack in the Box, dude. This is probably the only podcast that talks about Jack in the Box this much. From our trip to San Diego,
yeah,
with the fireplace in there,
yeah,
couple making out,
them bringing the food to us. But have you? By the way, did you happen to get that Snoop Dogg Munchie Meal? Did you happen to try that one out?
I saw it,
and
I'm like, that doesn't look too bad because there's like a brownie or a cookie in there.
Yeah, so I think they still sell that brownie. I think they do, but I had gotten it a couple times.
You've gotten it?
I got, yeah.
How is it?
They don't sell it anymore. It was for a limited time only. It wasn't too bad to me. For some reason, their their spicy chicken sandwich has always been like, it's not. I won't say that's hot. It just always had a very strong like vinegar taste. So it always had like their quote unquote spice was like that overly vinegar. Like whenever you get like a hot sauce that like has a lot of vinegar in it, it has like a different kind of spice. That's kind of what the chicken sandwich had. Other than, I mean, if they would have offered it as a non-spicy option, I think that sando that they had would have been amazing. It was really, really good. It came with that. It was curly fries. It was that brownie. It was a monster taco. And instead of getting a small drink like you would with the Munchie Meals, you got, I think, a medium drink. And then, this was one of the randomest, you'd get an air freshener.
Yeah. I've seen people with those in their cars.
Yeah. And
what does it smell like?
My dad put it in his car. I want to say he said it smelled something like, he actually had said, it smelled like grape. And then I read it, and I think it was supposed to be like, I think it was actually supposed to be like a scent of like a purple haze. I think that's what they called it. But that's apparently one of the strands that Snoop Dogg smokes of weed. So, but I mean, I honestly, I never really smelt it. Because I mean, when I go get my car washed, they put air fresheners in my car anyway, so I didn't really have a use for it. So I told my dad, I was like, "Hey, I have an air freshener if you want to use it." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." He hung it in his car, and I can't remember. I never really smelt it, but it was and I think it was like $12 or $14. So I mean, people were like, "Oh, it's so expensive," because the regular Munchie Meals are only like $10. But I mean, you're getting bigger portions. Okay. But I mean, it was decent. I had my dad try it too. He said it was pretty good too. I wouldn't say, complete staple, but I mean, it was pretty good, pretty cool to try and, support Snoop,
Oh yeah, because he needs your money.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But,
speaking of Jack in the Box, have you heard of their new breakfast tacos?
I have, but I haven't had them yet.
I had it.
Is it any good?
I would put it this way. You've had their regular tacos, right?
Yeah.
It's similar like that. except take away the lettuce, put the egg in there, and I think that's all it really is.
That's all it looks like it is. Yeah, I mean,
And,
it's got that meat on it. Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, like I remember when I was a teenager, like those Jack in the Box tacos were like the best things in the world.
I still think I will still argue and say those are probably the best fast food tacos.
Sure. Remember Burger King's tacos?
I never had Burger King tacos.
They were slightly better. Slightly better, I think.
So Jack in the Box used to have regular tacos and they would have monster tacos. Those monster tacos I think were probably, could top over. But
the monster tacos are good.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and plus you can't knock two Jack in the Box tacos for 99 cents.
I think it's gone up.
If you use
$1.50
you use the app, you get them 2 for 99 cents. I mean, of course, with tax, it comes at like $1.10 or whatever. But I mean, still, it's
not bad.
Yeah.
I used to gobble those things up.
I still do.
Dip them in ranch.
I'll be honest. Like after I'm done, working out and it's late at night, and I'm like, like I don't feel like cooking or making anything at the house. I'll just drive by Jack in the Box, like, hey, just get me 6 tacos. Let me get six of your tacos. I'll drop $4 if we're $4, 6 tacos. Can't go wrong
beat it.
at all. So, but yeah, those are some really good tacos.
All right. Thanks for putting your pants back on.
Yeah,
by the
no
way.
problem. Yeah, and,
I feel comfortable now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Finally, feel like a human again.
Yeah. Well, you may think that, but I just kind of feel like I'm being restrained.
So speaking of it being hot and whatever,
this weather's been pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah. So, L.A. we got hit with a hurricane,
quote unquote. Yeah, hurricane.
And it's crazy watching the news.
You were one of the
ones.
They
were hyping it up.
Well, yeah. I mean,
what were you gonna say? I was one of the.
I was gonna ask. You weren't one of the ones that went out and panic shopped again, were you?
No, man. No, not even. I just bought 2 boxes of toilet paper, 5 boxes of paper towels.
Because I actually had a guy at work say that he went out.
And I cleaned out all the Twix bars.
Twix. Twix is good, but I mean, I'd go either maybe like, Snickers, get yourself some peanuts in there and, good protein. Or, of course, Reese's peanut butter cups.
I will say this. I do feel bad about grabbing Smart and Final. But I was like, well, that's where Marcella used to work, so I don't think they'd mind. I got away with.
So you were the one that they were telling me about, because they actually did have someone come in. They said it was a tall Mexican looking dude.
Oh yeah, because I'm dark.
Went in
Mexican
and grabbed a red bucket and actually cleaned out their laundry detergent.
Yeah, I guess you guys found me out.
I guess so.
What are you gonna do about it?
You'll see when you get to work tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Labor Day.
Are you not working tomorrow?
No, it's Labor Day. It's a federal holiday, my guy.
And you're the Postal Service.
I'm a regular now. No work for me. You guys can wait for your packages and mail on Tuesday.
But no, I actually had a guy at work admit that he spent $500
for the hurricane.
For the hurricane.
Man,
because he was just so panicked and so worried that he thought, I mean,
you know how much money I spent on the hurricane? Nada. I didn't care. Let it come.
I mean, I wouldn't say I was worried. I was just curious.
I agree.
Because it was like, okay, so from all the hurricanes that we've read about and seen, like down in Florida and such, seeing how once it hits Florida, once it hits land, they immediately dissipate. Like there'll be a category 5 or 4 over the water, but then once they hit land, like I said, Florida, however you want to say it, the mainland, however, they immediately drop to 2, 1, and that's as far as they get on. I think if the hurricane would have hit or would have made land in Southern California, it would have been a totally different thing, because it was a category 4 over the water, and then it hit Baja, went down to a 2. By the time it reached, I think they said San Diego or so, it was barely a category 1, and then by the time it reached us, they said it was a tropical storm. and that's just basically all the same amount of water, just no wind, or little to no wind.
Tell me if this is bad.
Okay.
I kind of wanted it to do damage and like see catastrophe and be like, oh, everything's flooded. Like, oh, this is insane. Is it bad that I kind of wanted something like that?
Given that
I mean, no deaths.
Given that you grew up Christian, yes, that is very, very, that sounds very, very bad.
Like I said, let me preface by saying I didn't want any deaths. I just wanted to see like trees knocking over stuff and buildings falling, but no deaths.
I just wanted to see the wind. Like you could have done no destruction, but I just wanted to see the wind at least. But there was maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes of wind. I mean, there was rain, tons of rain all day long.
But it was just like your typical rainy day.
It was like it rained. It was like how it rained back in the winter. Remember
Yep.
like when we had, like rain almost like every other day?
Yep.
It was just kind of like that. It wasn't, wasn't anything big.
Nothing big.
But
there was one thing that stole the show.
There was, and it shocked me. I remember I was playing Xbox.
It shook me.
Yeah, it shook.
No pun intended.
It did. Yeah. The earthquake of 5.1
in Ohio.
Ohio, yeah.
And I felt it.
So did I.
And you want to know why? I was sitting on the John, and then I feel like going like this, like shaking left and right, and then I look up because I'm a little shocked.
Yeah,
and I'm moving, and I see my towels. They're like this. They're swaying back and forth, and I'm just like looking at those towels.
You're like, God damn, what kind of damage am I doing to this toilet? I had too many of them Jack in the Box tacos, I guess.
And I was like, no, not now, not here. Anyway, it stopped after like 5 seconds.
What's funny is that there was an earthquake that happened once when I was at Disneyland.
Ooh.
And I was with my mom, and I don't think my sister was there. I think she was coming later in the day. And I remember she went to go use the bathroom over by the Hungry Bear Cafe, Hungry Bear restaurant. And I was waiting outside, and all of a sudden, the earthquake happened. And it's funny because everybody that was around me, we all stopped, and we all like looked up, and we were looking around because we could see, the lights are swinging. And that was the second one. Because I remember there was one while we were eating, and everything started kind of shaking. But I was like, but they were only like maybe like 4.0s. They were like pretty low ones. But my mom was actually on the toilet, and she was like, she came out, and she goes, "That was an earthquake, right?" I was like, "Yeah." She was, "Oh, good." She was, I thought that something was happening to the toilet. Because she says nothing else was rattling. Like, if the doors weren't rattling, she would just sit on the toilet, and she just kind of felt like going like side to side. But yeah, I mean, but on this past earthquake though, I remember I was playing Xbox.
Yeah.
And
you were like, man, the rumble pack on this game is really
good. And then I was like, man, that wind is finally picking up. Like, it's starting to shake the house now. And then I took the headset off, and I'm going, I don't hear anything, but I'm still, rolling with it. And I remember yelling out, going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, like of all things that happened right now. And yeah, and then even my dad was like, "Holy shit!" It would just kind of shocked everybody. But
an earthquake, just shaking up everything.
Yeah,
in the middle of a hurricane.
Yeah,
it's like the earthquake was like, "Man, you guys want a show? I'll give you a show."
And again with the internet being the internet, not even an hour later there was already memes that were like, "Oh, the earthquake was showing the hurricane the earthquake was showing the hurricane." What was it? Something about, the hurricane thought that she was this bitch, but the earthquake came through and showed her who the real bitch was, or something. I don't know, something.
All the memes.
Oh my god, yeah. But I mean, it was crazy.
Man,
our first hurricane, and then, well, it's not our first earthquake, but I mean, just to have, of all things to happen, like I had told my dad, I was like, watch now, there's gonna be like a, I don't know, wildfire is gonna just all of a sudden come through LA.
Oh man. Or aliens just come out of nowhere, like
again,
Speaking of aliens,
like that Nevada did you hear about the one in Nevada? People came out and said that a craft landed in their backyard, and they actually saw green men walk out, and the craft took off, and the aliens disappeared. And so they're like, oh, they called 911, and they were like, oh, whatever, BS. But they were saying that multiple people in the area, including a couple officers that were driving around, caught it on their dash cam, lights coming down, weird lights coming down, landing somewhere, and then taking off. So that was the only reason why they said that they actually responded, was because they were like, we're getting numerous calls of all the same thing being seen. So I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of crazy. I was like, man, that's just kind of a wild thing. I mean,
the only thing that convinced me that aliens are real is if I see one with my own eyes.
Yeah. Same here.
Because even the video footage that I've seen, like, it looks like it could potentially be manipulated.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, there was actually a show on Travel Channel, one of the two, that was called Paranormal. No, what was it? No, it was Fact or Faked, and they would get videos like that, and they would go to wherever it was filmed, or wherever that video was caught or was filmed, and they would using Hollywood level effects try to recreate. And in a lot of those cases, they would recreate them and say, we think it's faked. Regardless if the person says, no, it was real, they're like, no, look, we were able to redo it, and it was faked. There was one video that to this day, my sister and I, who are both big horror fans, and we were also both paranormal, ghost hunter, we think all that shit is cool and crazy and shit. There's one video, and it's called a night crawler. It was filmed somewhat locally. It wasn't that far. It was where was it? Santa Ana? I'll have to look it up. But
okay, so somewhere not too far from.
Yeah, it's not that far. And the camera, and even the Fact or Fake people, the TV show went and tried to recreate it. They could not recreate this. They tried every way, and they could not recreate the movement of the creature, the height, everything about it. They could not recreate. It was a surveillance camera on the outside of someone's house caught something coming from the bushes that looked like it had just two pool cue looking legs and a soccer ball looking head. That was it. And it was just walking. It just walked across their yard, walked through their fence, and then disappeared. And they called it whatever city it is, Nightcrawler. To this day, it's to know that people have gone there to try to debunk it in every way possible, and every time that they try to debunk it, they can't. Now, they're not saying, oh my God, it's real, but they're saying, well, we don't know what it is that you guys, we don't know how this happened. We don't know what it is. They've said that it's that the people that recorded it didn't fake it, because they're like, there's no way you guys could have faked it. The technology wasn't around at the time to fake it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
It's crazy thinking about that stuff, creatures and paranormal stuff. It's crazy to think about it. I don't know. I'm probably going to still be on the skeptical side of things, but it is fascinating where the mind goes.
Yeah. I'm trying to find at least a city that it was in. Fresno. The Fresno Nightcrawler.
Oh, yeah. Nothing ever good happens in Fresno.
Let me see if I can at least, or I'll send you if I can find the video, I'll send it to you again.
Sounds good.
But there's there's podcasts about it that talk about it in detail. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna be excited for when we do a paranormal episode.
Dude, I should take you on a ghost hunt.
Oh man.
I should legitimately take you on a ghost hunt.
Oh man.
We could start somewhat small and just go to the Queen Mary. do like
Queen Mary,
do like little tours and stuff like that. But yeah, no, you, me, and probably my cousin Crystal, because she's really into. She wants to go on a ghost hunt, but she's very nervous about going on a ghost hunt. We should find somewhere and just go on a legitimate ghost hunt.
It sounds fun. I might have to take you up on that. So anyway, since we're talking about crazy stuff in the news and what have you, I was thinking about bringing in a new segment.
Did we do this last time?
You mean the previous episode?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we did.
Okay, I think we talked about it though, right?
I think so. And I can't remember, but we might have had something like this on a past episode.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Did I call it the Simple Times News Network?
I possibly. To be honest, I don't really pay much attention to our old.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't. But no, I do remember that we had something like. Cause I think you even added music where it was like a newsroom, like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, which I was planning on doing that with this, so maybe you'll be hearing that when I introduce this part. But I want to bring to our listeners just a funny kind of weird news.
You know, if we ever take this into like a video podcast, what we should do for it is get you a fedora, like one of like those old school like reporter hats, and put like that press badge thing on the side, and when you get to it, have you or have you like slip it on and be like, oh, it's our next segment,
That would
and
be
try
hilarious.
to be like legit, like try to make you seem like legit reporters and stuff.
That would be really hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you don't mind, I'd like to
not at all.
do I'm calling it the Simple Times News.
Here we are, Andrew Reyes with the Simple Times News.
All right, so the Simple Times News of the day comes from our good friends at the AP Alternative Press.
Oh, I thought it was Associated Press.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, is this a different one?
It's Associated Press. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my reporting is not that good. What's happening? Oh no, this is malfunctioning. Give me one second. This is our first time where we have
because it knows that you fucked up their name. That's why.
I know. They know everything. Okay. From our good friends, the Associated Press, they give us this news. Police stop Nebraska man for bucking the law with a bull riding shotgun in his car. All right. And this was by our good friend Josh Funk. And this article is from August 31st, not too long ago. Still news, still relevant. Mm-hmm. A car driving with a bull in it was pulled over by police in northeast Nebraska's biggest city. Don't worry, he didn't steer. Norfolk Police Captain Chad Raymond said it didn't take long for officers to track down the modified Ford Crown Victoria sedan with a bull riding shotgun after a 911 call about it driving on the main highway entering the city of roughly 24,000 Wednesday morning. We didn't have a full understanding of it until we saw it, Raymond said. The car that Lee Mayer has driven in parades across the area for years has half the windshield and roof removed to make room for his bull, named Howdy Doody, to ride along. A yellow metal cattle gate serves as the passenger side door, allowing for the Watusi bull to be tied up, and a set of long horns serves as a hood ornament. It wouldn't go far without being noticed for sure, Raymond said. A video of the traffic stop shot by News Channel Nebraska spread quickly online. I think that's enough of the story.
I just want to know how big the bull is, because I mean, a Crown Vic, it's a pretty good sized sedan, but If you're talking a full-grown bull, that Crown Vic isn't going to be.
You can kind of see the image of it.
Yeah,
it's a giant bull in a Crown Victoria. That's the only picture.
I'm just trying to.
I didn't want to press play on the video because then I'll start to. But anyway, you can kind of see.
Yeah,
that thing's huge.
Yeah, I mean, he must have done some really good modifications because that car is not even leaning on that side. That's like a full-grown bull. That's at least probably 1,000 pounds.
I think you're right. That thing is ginormous.
Massive, yeah.
What do you think the bull's thinking when he's riding shotgun?
I truly don't know. I mean, he's probably going, this is probably some bullshit, but I mean, I don't know exactly what it is that he would be otherwise.
That's good. No pun intended, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's
I was thinking more along the lines as like, hey, you're going too fast. Red light! Ah!
It's. I mean, it definitely tops those stories that you read of like people trying to cheat in the carpool lane. You know, like how like the express lane, all that stuff have like, you know, you have to have like the two person. I mean, like I've read stories of like people putting like dead bodies, like they'll put like their
just to get in the carpool
to get in the carpool lane, mannequins, dead bodies, sex dolls, you know, Halloween decorations, like everything and anything to make a person. But having a bull and modifying your car to have the bull fit in there is probably tops all that. Yeah, that's crazy. It was a news story, but I do not have it with me. I just saw a video of it.
Oh, you got some too?
I do. Okay. It just for some reason. Speaking of like cars and Crown Vics and Crown Vic being associated with cops and all that stuff, there was a video I saw. So these cops get a 911 call from a neighbor, from this lady's neighbor, saying that this person has a possible dead body in the trunk of their car, and they know that because they see hair coming out of the trunk.
Oh no.
So the cops, you know, of course, cops come and they're like, okay, we got to check this out.
Oh no, dead body.
So they go up to the house, they knock on the door. As the lady, you know, comes to the door, this black lady, the cops are like, hi, you know, we're so and so from the police. I can't remember which police department it was, but they knew it wasn't a dead body just from the look of it, from, you know, just the look of the hair. They're like, okay, we know exactly what this is. They went up and knocked on the door, and they were like, you know, they're like, okay, so first of all, we need you to come outside and look at something. You're not going to believe it if we tell it to you, but we have to ask, is there a dead body in the trunk of your car? And immediately the girl goes, oh my God, no, I know exactly what it is. And everybody starts cracking up. She had bought hair, a wig, okay? And when she went to go, she bought other things. She had accidentally dropped the wig in the trunk, and when she closed it caught the hair.
It was like sticking out.
It was sticking out. So it wasn't a dead body. It was her hair.
It was her weave.
It was her weave. Yeah, the weave got caught in the trunk. In the trunk.
I hate it when that happened. Every time I go put my hair in the trunk, I slam it.
I thought your eyelashes looked shorter this time. I knew you were missing something. Is that what happened? Did you lose your oversized eyelashes in your trunk again?
You made me feel so bad about my 40 lashes last episode. That I was like, you know what? Maybe Marcelo's right. I got to do something. Like, given that I can't. I have to wear pants every time I'm around you for some reason. No matter how hot it is, it's I wanted to make a change. I was like, you know what? I think Marcelo's onto something. You want to go
all natural?
I want to go all natural on my eyelashes, but I was like, I'm not ready to go all natural up top. I bought me some wigs. Okay, want to feel like when I was called Shirley back in the day and I had my long hair. Remember my locks?
Curly.
Curly.
I think when you had the longer hair, it was curly because your hair was curly. Shirley was when we called you when you were like mid-length, I guess you could say for you.
I can't remember the story, but anyway.
Isaac, I think, was the first one that called you Shirley.
Isaac, the Samoan dude. Yeah, good times.
Isaac and Tino.
Good times.
But yeah, I think that was...
How was that for the news?
Good segment. I mean, there is a bunch of wacky shit out there in the news.
My goal is just to bring something that's like weird.
Oh yeah.
That's my.
I think that would actually be a really good segment to do in October. Because if you want to do weird news segments, October might be the best month to
have all the weird stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just thought about there's one more thing that's kind of newsworthy, and it's got me a little depressed.
How so, Andrew?
Well, one of my favorite segments of all time that I had on this podcast was, my simple-minded tweets. But how can you have simple-minded tweets when there's no more Twitter?
Well, I guess you'll have to just explore for a new name, or explore for some new material.
Explore,
yeah.
I guess.
But yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? I don't think we can really call it simple-minded tweets if there's no Twitter. If it's not called Twitter anymore.
Why did Elon Musk have to change it? Like, we were set for life. We could have possibly had, sponsors on the show. But now it's just another setback.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'll go exploring.
But I believe you did tell me that you have a backlog, though.
You bet I do.
Some tweets, so you kind of have
7 years.
About 7 years worth. So you got about, and you said you're going to do one at least 1 year a year. 1 year a year, 1 year an episode. So you got about 7 episodes before we have to really change the name.
Yep.
Who knows?
That's true.
Who knows? Maybe in 7 episodes they'll go back to calling it Twitter.
Maybe. But yeah, with that said, we're going
to move on to the next segment, which is Simple-Minded Tweets with Andrew.
Yeah. All right. So even though Twitter doesn't exist currently, as we just mentioned, I do have a backlog, and I figured we'd do 1 year an episode. So this is from the year 2018. These are the simple-minded tweets that I could find. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So this person named the Buena Whore, I'm not making this up. Her handle is Ash_Trays. She tweets, "Is Ebola a country?" See, the stupid part about this is there's no reason to have to tweet something like that when you could just Google it and you get your answer right there. Why put yourself out there as an idiot?
It's funny because we always come back to that point with every tweet that we talk about. It's like, just Google it first,
Yeah,
ask it.
Ask it first, and then you'll get your answer before posting it on the now defunct Twitter. All right, next one. This one comes from Zebra T. This person tweets, "I went outside with my telescope and I couldn't find Earth." Wow.
That's almost as good as people, or there's again, this is kind of random, but the show Parks and Rec. When Chris Pratt's character was in London and his girlfriend, what's her name, Aubrey Plaza?
I think so.
Or her real name was here, in Pawnee, or here in the U.S., wherever it is that they were at. She would always say, "Oh yeah, I'm looking up at the moon," and he would always say, "Yeah, I'm looking up at the moon too," and something, and he said a line of something about or he was making it seem like it wasn't the same moon that they were looking at, And she was like, no, it's the same moon. He's like, come on. You're over there, I'm over here. This can't be the same moon. It can't be in two places at once or something along those lines. But that saying that you can't find Earth when you look up in the night sky is almost like the same thing as like saying, oh, this is a different moon that I'm seeing.
All he had to do was point that telescope down. Anyway, speaking of different parts of the world, this next tweet comes from Jesus is my boyfriend, Fran. Okay, this person tweets, I love Brazilians. They be speaking porch of geese. And I be like, and they do the tongue emoji with the little drippies, like the little water drips.
Yeah.
So I just picture it sounds like this.
Like they're drooling. Yeah.
So they be speaking porch of geese, and I'd be like, damn, daddy, quack, quack. Porch of geese. They be speaking a deck of fowl.
What's kind of funny though is
porch of geese
is that if you use like
just a bunch of geese on your porch,
like talk to text, and you're just sounding it out, sometimes it will come through as something like that. Yeah.
And they say AI is intelligent.
Yeah, I know, right?
This next one comes from Jaden Smith, official Jaden.
Oh.
If everybody in the world dropped out of high school, we would have a much more intelligent society.
There could be some truth. I mean, it depends on the point of view he's trying to say.
Depends on what, like, grade that you're at in school.
I think he dropped out, but I wouldn't say he's the smartest person. But they say that like Einstein dropped out. Well, did he drop out? Yeah, I think he dropped out of high school. No,
college. Didn't go to college.
I know Stephen Hawking's. I think no. Who was it? No, Bill Gates. Bill Gates dropped out of college and became the Bill Gates that he is. But
Elon Musk maybe. I think he
possibly. I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember.
But I mean, stranger things have happened. There have been people
Steve
that have.
Jobs.
Did Steve Jobs drop out?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Oh no, I just know Bill Gates. I remember Bill Gates did.
Yeah.
I was watching one of those documentary movies where I remember like that was the big thing. I remember in high school when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I can drop out here, fucking create Google, like No, Microsoft. That's right. I can go out and create fucking Microsoft and make millions. Fuck yeah, I'll do that.
Schools for losers,
right?
All right, thanks for that one, Jaden. This next one, possibly one of my favorites. This one comes to us from Bay. Had to cancel my old debit card. Apparently, someone else was using it. Whatever. This one is cute too. And then she posts a picture of her credit card.
Can you give me the number? I want to see if I can get 4,000 out of it.
I'll give it to you after the show. I don't want anyone to like hack it, I'm not going to say that live.
Yeah, right.
All right. I got a few more.
All right.
This next one, I don't have an author, but this person tweets, just watched Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh.
Pretty awesome. Cried a lot. Bohemian Rhapsody. Rhapsody. All right, this next one from Rita Ora, and she has a little blue check mark. She tweets, how can I watch the Olympics if I'm in America? The Olympics, I think that's like the most televised thing.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know how to watch it. All right, ready for the last one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it.
This one's from Slick Rick Rouge?
Okay.
He tweets, Southern California doesn't count as the South, does it?
This has been a debate amongst a lot of people on if Southern California should actually be considered part of the South.
Yeah.
Just because
why?
It's if you look at it's part of the southern part of southern half of the U.S.
True.
And really that's it. I mean, they're saying like so if we keep the quote unquote South, the states that are quote unquote South are the ones that I think they said that technically it's like as long as you're below the Mason-Dixon line, you're considered part of the South. So, but the Mason-Dixon line, I think they said if you like actually follow it, it runs into I think Nebraska. I think is where it kind of like stops at, and so they just used Nebraska and then went down and it's like down like Louisiana and all that stuff. But people are saying, well, if you continue that and go along that line of longitude or latitude, that's latitude. Latitude. Anything below that should be considered the South because you can still kind of argue that Texas is the South. You can kind of argue a little bit that New Mexico can kind of be a little South.
Yeah,
Arizona not, but they're saying like so if you continue across, why can't all that be considered the South or the Southern?
I always just thought the South was like those original states before we moved out west.
Yeah,
where people talk with the Southern twang,
and that's
Georgia,
and that's
Florida,
and that's below
Alabama,
the Mason. That's below the Mason-Dixon line. Yeah,
Louisiana, but it kind of like stops right
Tennessee
there.
and all that. Yeah,
Tennessee. No, I visited Tennessee and know some Tennessee people, and they argue that it's not technically the South. It kind of is, but it also kind of isn't. It's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of right there on the border of
that one's it's like borderline.
They kind of say like Tennessee is like the California of the South. Like it's really popular. Like Nashville, like they said, is like one of the most like populated cities in the nation. And but I mean, really, any of those states really has that one popular city. So
I miss Tennessee. I visited there once. It was awesome.
I've never been further east than Arizona.
So looking at the clock, oh man, we're coming up on a minute 45, an hour 45.
Yeah.
Well, I guess time to end the show right here.
Yep, let's go.
All right, see you later. The door's over here, Marcelo.
Well, I'm over here taking my pants off again. I need to get out here comfortably. Trying to do it without you looking, but you're always looking around for me.
Dude, it's the middle of the night. What are people going to say when they see you with no pants on?
Nothing, because it's dark out there. They can't see me. I'm wearing black underwear. That's why.
Dude, you're whiter than the sun's rays.
So then it'll look like I'm wearing tights. Leave me alone.
Man, you know what? I'm over this. I don't want to do any more episodes with you. All we do is fight.
Well, maybe if we made some money off this episode, I could buy some pants.
Well, if we were just take our podcast to Jack in the Box.
Imagine they're broadcasting from the parking lot or something like that. Be like, we're gonna go to all the different Jack in the Boxes around here until you guys sponsor us.
All right, joking aside. Good night.
Joking aside, yeah.
Joking aside. I think it's time for the thing that I live for. The thing that when I wake up in the morning, make my cup of coffee, I think, what is Marcelo brewing?
I think it's probably my only contribution, my only true contribution to this podcast.
It's the only thing that, if taken away, like, there'd be no point to living. So without further ado, we bring to you the longest running segment on the Simple Times podcast. We bring you Jokes with Hefe.
A man was away on a business trip and decided to call his wife to let her know he had arrived safely. A little girl picks up the phone. Hello? Hi, honey. This is Daddy. Is Mommy near the phone? No, Daddy. She's upstairs in the bedroom with Uncle Paul. After a brief pause, Daddy says, But, honey, you haven't got an Uncle Paul. Oh, yes, I do, and he's upstairs in the room with Mommy right now. Dad takes a second to process this, then speaks. Okay, then this is what I want you to do. Put the phone down on the table, run upstairs, knock on the bedroom door, and shout to Mommy that Daddy's car just pulled into the driveway. A few minutes later, little girl comes back to the phone. I did it, Daddy. And what happened, honey? He asked. Well, Mommy got all scared, jumped out the bed with no clothes on, and ran around screaming. Then she tripped over the rug, hit her head on the dresser, and now she isn't moving at all. Oh, my God. What about Uncle Paul? Oh, he jumped out of the bed with no clothes on, too. He was all scared, and he jumped out of the back window and into the swimming pool. But I guess he didn't know that you took all the water out last week to clean it. So he hit the bottom of the pool, and I think he's dead. A long, silent pause. Then Daddy says, Wait, swimming pool? Wait, is this 418-6819?
Oh, no.
I want to end.
If I understood that correctly,
he called the wrong number. Yeah.
And he just killed 2 people.
Possibly, yeah.
Oh. Wait, well, who's Uncle Paul?
I don't know.
So, the wife was cheating.
A wife was cheating, yes. Not his wife. A wife was cheating.
Sounds like he did some good in the world.
Now, I would like to end. So,
You would like to end?
I would like to end on one more joke.
All right.
It is a joke that I heard. Now, I know what I think I'm going to try to do on every podcast from now on is to get you to laugh at something that you will feel, I don't want to say embarrassed about, but like a shock. You know how on the last one, we were talking about Will Smith, and then at the end of it, I had said something about being cucked by your wife, and you cracked up, and you were like so like turning red, like you didn't know what to do, and you ended it. I want to try to do that on every episode. Okay,
I hope you do.
So this is a joke that I heard from comedian Jimmy Carr.
Jimmy Carr.
He's a British comedian. If you see his face, you'll know who he is, right? He was on a talk show that I saw. I saw a clip of it on TikTok, and I'd seen this clip before. Somebody had asked Jimmy Carr, "What is the darkest joke you have ever written and said to a crowd before?" And this is it.
Oh, here we go. I'm ready.
If only Africa had more mosquito nets, we could help save millions upon millions of mosquitoes from getting AIDS.
Oh.
I think that does it, folks. Simple Times Podcast.